Hello and welcome to those of you that are joining me live. I'm Marta, and I'm just really honored that I'm able to support you and be with you in your practice this evening and to be with you on your healing journey. For those of you that are maybe joining me weeks from now, welcome and always a pleasure. So let's begin. I wanted to just explain where we're going to be going through this class. We're going to be talking about stress and how it lives and manifests in our physical and energetic body. So life is full of stress, right? It's part of being human. There's no way to avoid it. Certain amount of stress is actually good for us. It's healthy. It helps to push us and to motivate us to get things done. And physical stress is a certain amount of physical stress is actually good for our body because it helps us to build strength and stamina. But when we are exposed to prolonged periods of stress, it can begin to manifest in our physical and energetic body. And if it's not properly released, it can actually begin to take up residence in our body. So stress is inevitable. We're going to experience challenge. We're going to experience conflict. But sometimes we experience prolonged periods of stress in our lives. For instance, when we lose a loved one and we are grieving, when we go through a divorce, if we suddenly have to take on the role of being a caregiver for a sick family member or a loved one. And yes, sometimes we live through global pandemics. So when this happens and we're living in this state of prolonged kind of steady stress, day in, day out stress, our adrenal glands, which release a hormone called cortisol, can begin to get really overworked and overtaxed, where it's just constantly kicking out cortisol, and it's as if our system constantly has its foot on the gas pedal. And so some other organs that can also get affected by this, in addition to the adrenal glands, is our digestive system, our gallbladder, and our liver. These organs that I just mentioned are all energetically tied to our third chakra, or our solar plexus chakra right here. Sometimes it's called the navel chakra. And for those of you that aren't familiar with chakras, maybe you've heard the word, but you're not really sure what it is. The way that I like to explain chakras is that they are energetic. There's 7 of them. They're energetic points along our sushumna, which is your spinal column. And I like to think of them as places where our emotions and our intellect interface, and how we see the outside world, how we kind of process the world around us, how that interfaces with our physical and energetic body. And it does so through our endocrine system and through our nervous system. And when these energetic centers, these chakras, are open and functioning properly, our prana, or our vital life force, sometimes it's called our chi, is able to really flow quite freely through these energetic centers, and it can move about. So when we have an experience, right, a stressor, a situation, it carries with it a certain energy. It has an effect on us, but when everything is moving and it's not constant, it will generally just move through the system, and then we'll achieve equilibrium or balance. But sometimes when overtaxed and overworked, that prana, that life force, can begin to slow down to the point of stagnation. And then we have a situation where that chakra is blocked. So what I thought we could do today is to just explore in our bodies what that feels like to have, what happens when the flow of prana does get blocked and the chakra is closed down or shut down, and how maybe we hold stress in our physical bodies. We all have different patterns and different ways that we react to stress. So hopefully cultivating a little bit of awareness around that and just getting to know our bodies a little bit better. So we're going to go through a series of poses, and we're going to explore some different techniques that will help to activate this chakra, our third chakra, but also help to begin to move some of that stuck stress, that stuck energy in our system. So without any further ado, I think we should get started. And really, the only thing that you may want for our practice is a blanket. So grab a blanket, grab a towel if you have that. And I'll have you come onto your back. Okay, so go ahead and take a moment to lie down. Get comfy. And what I'd like you to do is actually bend your knees and place the soles of your feet on your mat. All right, and then if you're comfortable doing so, I would invite you to close your eyes so that we're gonna just do a little internal exploration here. So if the eyes are closed, we remove our sense of sight. It's easier for us to kind of get connected to what we're feeling internally. And then when you're comfortable, just rest. I don't want you to do anything right now. I don't want you to change your breathing. I want you to just begin to allow your energy, just a few moments to allow your energy here to ground, to feel the earth underneath you, to notice your body breathing. Good. So the navel chakra is associated with the fire element. It's the fire element inside of you. It's your strength, your vitality, your ego, your will. It's also your inner power and your voice, your ability to speak your mind and take control in situations in your life. So I like to think of the third chakra as kind of how we digest life, right? How we manifest whatever it is that we are hoping to manifest in our life. It's the center where you get things done and you have the sense of yourself and your place in the world. Can you stand up for yourself? Are you strong? Do you feel like you have the courage to take on life's challenges? Do you feel worthy of love and respect? And do you feel strong in your body and strong in the world? Oftentimes when we are experiencing prolonged periods of stress, we will begin to develop unhealthy breathing patterns. So we're going to just explore the breath right now. What I say by unhealthy is that When we experience extended periods of stress, we can often begin to breathe very shallow rather than taking full breaths in and full breaths out. The breath becomes very shallow. And when that happens, particularly when we're doing it day in and day out, when there's that constant low-level stress that's always there, it puts our nervous system, our autonomic nervous system into fight or flight. And this is where things can start to go kind of haywire. So we want to just begin by getting connected with a deeper breath and breathing into and with our diaphragm. So I want you to bring your hands to your diaphragm, this area just below your sternum, where your sternum ends. Your diaphragm lies underneath your bottom of your rib cage, and it's like a big dome-shaped tissue there. And before we even breathe into this area, just as you take a few breaths here, just begin to notice where you're feeling the breath in your body. Notice which part of your body moves when you breathe in and when you breathe out. Don't try to change it. Just notice what happens when you're not doing anything, when you're not thinking about it. And you may notice that your whole rib cage is expanding. You may feel your belly expanding. But you might also notice that maybe you're just feeling movement in the upper part of your chest, the upper part near your shoulders or your collarbones. And maybe there's not a whole lot of movement happening down in that solar plexus area. And if that's the case, I'd like you to, either way, actually, just begin to consciously breathe so that as you inhale, you're taking a full breath in. You're allowing yourself plenty of time for the lungs to completely fill, but also see if you can begin to expand not just the bottom ribs, but also the belly as well, so that you're breathing into that belly area, filling all the way up. And then to put our system into parasympathetic state, that calm state, resting and digesting, you want to always do a full, complete exhale. Right? So just do that a few more times, breathing in, feeling your belly and your rib cage expand. And breathing out, allowing time, ample time to fully empty, to let all the breath out of the lungs, just feeling yourself let go and relax. Breathing in, expanding. And breathing out, just letting go, releasing down into the earth underneath you. This is important to be able to recognize as you move throughout your day, to recognize when your breathing is becoming shallow, so that you can initiate the breathing into the diaphragm and taking the full breath in and allowing yourself a full breath out. Every time you can learn to do that, it'll automatically set your system into parasympathetic, which is the opposite of fight or flight. And that's where we want to kind of exist, so that we can keep that prana, that life, that vital life force flowing freely through the system. So now I'll have you just bring your arms down by your side. Keep your knees bent. Have your feet about hip width distance. And make sure your arms aren't going to be in the way. You're going to take your knees and drop your knees to the right. And as you do that, you're going to take your head to the right. And then you're going to take the knees over to the left, and you're going to roll your head to the left. And we're just going to keep doing that. And we're not going to move real slow. We're going to actually just kind of build up some momentum here. We're just trying to hopefully start to release and move some energy in the body. So back and forth as the knees go to one side, the head rolls to that side, left, right, kind of rolling onto the inner edge and the outer edge of the foot each time. Massaging the back of your scalp, it should feel like a nice release back there. Good, and then slowly come back to center. You're going to keep your knees bent. You will not use your arms or your hands for this. You're going to be tempted to, but I want you just to see if you can keep your arms by your side. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to hug your legs without using your hands. You're going to pull your legs right into your belly until your thighs press right into your belly, into that diaphragm area. Good. And then inhale, let the knees come forward just until your toes touch the floor. And then exhale again, hug, squeeze those knees right into the chest. And then let the knees come forward till the big toes touch. Exhale, knees in. You can even do it to the point where your butt and your tailbone kind of lift off the floor, if you can see up here. And then inhale, we'll just do this maybe 3 or 4 more times. So what we're doing right now is just activating the third chakra. We're activating the diaphragm, the solar plexus. Breathing in and breathing out. Good. And then you're going to take your arms and legs up to the ceiling, and we're just going to shake everything. So kind of jiggle like you're kind of kicking the ceiling with your legs, shaking the arms. You can even shake your head. You can wiggle your hips. There's no right or wrong. Just really let loose and let everything move. So this is a good way to just begin to kind of move some of the stuck stress in our bodies. Keep going. Just shaking it out, shaking and shaking. Good. And then slowly bring your arms back down, bring your feet back down again with your knees bent. And this time we're going to move in and out of bridge. You're not going to use your arms. Make sure your heels are in kind of close towards your bottom. Feet are at least hip width distance, maybe a little bit wider. Good. And with an exhale or an inhale, it doesn't really matter. You're going to take your pelvis up towards the ceiling and then slowly come down with your exhale, kind of rounding the spine. Good. Take it up. Go up as high as you can, and then slowly release down, coming down vertebrae by vertebrae. Good. Breathing in and breathing out. Good. We'll do that a couple more times. Just kind of notice how your spine moves as you come down. Maybe just allowing for a moment where the low back releases away from the floor before you press the low back into the floor to come up. So we're not really taking breaks. We're just moving up and down. We'll do that one more time. And then this time when we come up, you're going to hold this. You're holding bridge. Keep breathing into your belly, into your diaphragm, even though you're slightly inverted. So you can, if you look, you can even see your belly expanding with the in-breath. Kind of pulling back towards the spine with the out-breath. Good. And then very slowly, go ahead and come down. And then what you're going to do is you're going to wiggle really fast. Your knees back and forth away from each other. You can watch me for a second if you're not sure what we're doing. And you're going to do it really fast. And if you do it fast enough, you're going to feel your butt and your thighs and your calves kind of jiggling back and forth. Again, we're just kind of moving some of that energy. So we activated some muscles and now we're jiggling and kind of helping to move the energy. Good. And then you can relax that movement. And then what you're going to do is we're going to using our feet pressing into the floor, you're going to gently kind of push yourself, like you were going to try and move yourself like forward on your mat towards your head, the head end of your mat, but your body isn't going to leave the floor. So you're not lifting up anywhere. You're just using your feet, and you're doing this really fast. And again, if you need to look at your computer, take a look, see what I'm doing. It's going to feel like there's kind of pressure and pulling, like a tugging on the back body. You might start to migrate towards the end of your mat a little bit. Keep going, keep staying with it. Good. And then slowly relax. And just release that, and just take a moment to pause and just notice how you're feeling in your body right now. You might feel a slight buzzing sensation from the quick, rapid movements, and then just pausing and being still. And then lift your feet off the floor, bring your knees into your chest, and we're just going to come into a nice twist. Keep your knees hugging into your chest, and we'll take the knees over to our left. Okay, you could take your left hand, left arm maybe, and rest it on the outer right knee. And this is a really nice twist for just stretching that area of the solar plexus, the navel chakra. It's called the Manipura chakra. So some of the signs and symptoms of possibly this chakra being stuck or blocked, and I'm just going to list a few of these off. And these might possibly be signs that it's blocked. It could be other things as well. So one is not being able to sleep, right? Not being able to fall asleep, feeling tired and wired at the same time. So you're exhausted, you're going to bed, and you feel totally wired at the same time. Being a sense of being kind of hyper vigilant, but also lacking focus, where you feel kind of constantly scattered. It's difficult to just stop and focus on one thing and get something done. A sense of feeling overwhelmed, irritable, quick to anger, or some other things that might happen. Constantly worrying, or just having a very negative outlook, constantly seeing the negative side of things. Having anxious or racing thoughts. Rapid heartbeat, and also it can manifest as digestive issues as well. The thing about prolonged stress is that sometimes we just get so accustomed to it that we're not even aware, whereas certain stressors are so prominent. It's like, the stress of a close call. Maybe you almost get into an accident and you have that like sudden rush of adrenaline, and it's a stress. Or you have, just a single situation that happens maybe at work or with a loved one, and you have a fight, and it's stressful, right? But then it's over and you resolve it, and that energy usually most of the time will continue to just move. But it's that steady, prolonged stress of being in a situation that is just ongoing. That's when the prana and the chi can get stagnant and slow and stuck. That's when our adrenal glands can begin to really work overtime, and it's difficult to find that balance again. I'm going to have you come back to center with your knees, and then we'll just, again, knees are hugging in. You can keep them hugged in like that, and you're going to take your knees all the way over to your right. Take your arms in opposite directions. And again, maybe you rest your right hand to kind of hold down that outer left knee. You can feel just a gentle release of that tissue and the area around the diaphragm, the bottom ribs there. So in addition to the prana slowing down, right, getting stuck, not moving through our energetic body as it should, one of the other things that can also happen is that we hold stress physically in our bodies. And one of the ways that I experience that I notice in my own experience, my own body, is that oftentimes when I'm stressed or I'm in a situation of conflict or challenge, is that I tighten my stomach. I hold my diaphragm, I hold my stomach, particularly if I'm in a situation where I don't feel like I can speak my mind, right? I'm afraid to speak my mind because I'm afraid of the repercussions. And this is one of the ways, because this is our center for our personal power and our voice, is that again, we start to carry physical stress in the body, but it also manifests energetically in that chakra. You might notice that when you're stressed, you clench your jaw. It's another common thing that people do, or they grind their teeth, kind of hold the teeth together, and it puts a tremendous amount of stress on the neck, the jaw, can give you headaches. So twisting poses are a nice way to simply just release that area of the body, to create more space, a sense of more space, kind of stretching the tissue in and around the diaphragm, allowing us to take a fuller breath in and get more oxygen. And let's slowly start to come on out of our twist. And slowly make your way back to center, and feel free just to rock yourself a little bit from left to right. Just kind of hug your knees either up into the chest, or what I like to do is just hug the knees right into the crease of the elbows, and maybe take one hand and grab the wrist of the other. And as you roll from left to right, let your head, without picking your head up, just let your head gently roll from left to right as well. This is another movement that is very soothing and calming for your nervous system, right? Babies and children naturally, intuitively rock themselves to soothe themselves. We forget these things as we get older. This is sort of built into us as a way to intuitively know how to soothe ourselves. Good. All right. And then if you want to, you can grab behind your knees. If you're not able to roll up, feel free just to come onto your side and then come up. Otherwise, coming up, and we'll come into boat pose. So in boat pose, we're activating our third chakra. Like, we're activating this area of the solar plexus. So feel free to hold on behind the knees if you need to. And we want to pull the belly and the chest in towards the thighs and lift the heart. And then we're going to release it a little bit. So we'll come out, and then we're going to bring it up and in. And we're going to release. We're going to bring it in, lifting the chest. So you just kind of do this in a way that has a range of motion that is doable for you. And if you need to be holding on to the back of the knees, then go ahead and hold on to the back of the knees. Either way is going to work. Good. One more time. Hold it. Keep engaging. Stay calm and stay relaxed. So just keep the breathing nice and steady. Full breaths in and full breaths out. And that ought to do it. All right. Feel free to sit on a folded blanket here. So now we're going to just release a little bit of that tension that we just created by activating that area of the body. So we're going to begin by rolling the rib cage. So if you think about where that solar plexus is, if you need to even take your hand on there, and just like you're stirring a big old pot of soup, right? I just made a big kettle of really nice kind of harvest vegetable soup today. So imagine that your torso, your trunk, the middle of your trunk right here by your rib cage that's your stir stick, your big wooden paddle. Again, it's just about moving energy. And let's go in the opposite direction. You might notice maybe this is really challenging for you. Maybe it's hard to even access this movement, right? That might be telling you something, right? Not in a way to judge it or to, get down on ourselves about it, but just to be aware of where we find tension in our body, where we notice the holding patterns. Good. And then let's do some cat-cow movements. So with an inhale, and I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what this looks like from the side. Inhale, you're going to arc the back. So lift the chest, let the front of the rib cage expand, shoulders back. Really lift those bottom ribs away from the belly. And then exhale, we're going to round the whole spine. Let the shoulders roll forward, bring your chin into your chest, and then do that again. Breathing in, roll the shoulders back, lift the chest, peel those bottom ribs away from the belly. Exhale, round the spine, tuck chin. Good again. Just breathing in and breathing out. Fluid movements. Right? Our nervous system really enjoys and responds very well to slow, fluid movements as opposed to herky-jerky movements. Herky-jerky movements or quick, sudden, fast movements are often associated with that fight or flight response. Sometimes that's what we're doing when we're in a stressful situation and we do have to move quickly, right? Evolutionarily, like when, we had to live out in the wild with wild animals and you had to run from a bear, you needed that fight or flight, that quick release of adrenaline. Good. All right. And then just pause. And just kind of notice how that feels. You should feel a nice sense of warmth, of activation in that area of your body right now. Good. So now we're going to come to our one and only standing posture. And this is Prasarita Padottanasana. It's a wide-legged forward fold. Forward folds are very, very calming for the central nervous system, but I also like this one because it actually helps the internal organs kind of move toward that diaphragm and that solar plexus area. So it kind of puts a little bit of pressure there. Again, activating, bringing some energy flow there, some prana. So bringing your feet definitely wider than the hips. Just go as wide as comfortable. You want to still feel connected. And if you need to, you can bend your knees. I'm going to actually take my feet a little bit closer together here. So bend your knees when you come into this forward fold. Some of you, if you don't want to get super, super inverted, you could put your elbows on your knees and then just kind of let your head release down.
You could reach for your shins, you could reach for your ankles and just kind of prop your hands there. If you have blocks at home and you have those handy, you could put your hands on blocks. But we do want to really soften the belly and release in a way so that we can allow kind of the organs that'll tend to just kind of pool down in the pelvic bowl, that they can move toward the chest cavity and put that pressure there. You'll notice the sensations as the blood flows towards your heart and toward your head. And just continue to just be in that space of awareness, not really reacting, but just noticing how that feels. Breathing into the belly, make sure that you're still feeling some movement as you breathe in. Notice how the belly draws back towards the spine as you breathe out. And then very, very slowly, you can lift up just to straight arms. And then you can just come back onto your hands and knees. And we're going to take a place on our belly. So go ahead, come all the way onto your belly. You're going to bring your hands out to your side, just kind of in front of your shoulders. And this is going to be just to, again, kind of activate and wake up the solar plexus, the third chakra. Bring your hands off your mat, and you're going to just place your fingers on the floor, kind of dome the palms of the hands. Press your belly into the floor. Press your diaphragm into the floor and use that action to start to curl your chest up. So coming into cobra, keep pressing the belly into the floor, press the diaphragm. So almost like make the belly expand as you lift up. And then slowly come on down. Take a big breath in again. Expand the belly, expand the diaphragm. Exhale, slowly come down. Try not to use the hands too much, but more or less use the pressure of the belly. It's not about how high we can get. It's just about feeling that area. Good, one more. Lift, lift, lift. Good, exhale. And come down, and now what we're going to do is just move into a modified sphinx. Rather than having your elbows directly under your shoulders, you're going to bring your elbows a few inches out in front of your shoulders with your forearms parallel. Your elbows as wide as your shoulders. And for this, we want to keep the whole belly and all the way up to the bottom ribs on the floor. Gently press your arms into the floor, lift your chest, and then breathe into the belly. So as you breathe, expand the belly. Feel it press into the mat. Exhale, relax it. Inhale, the belly expands and presses into the mat. Exhale, release. Good, do that again. And exhale it out. Good. One last movement here. We're going to come into bow pose or Dhanurasana. Bend your knees. Reach back with your hands. Grab either your ankles or the tops of your feet, whichever you can get a hold of. Press your feet back behind you. It's going to take your shoulders back. It's going to press that belly into the floor. Keep breathing. You're going to naturally move up and down a little bit. Try not to resist that or fight that. Just feeling the belly expand, feeling the rib cage fan open. And then exhale, release. Pause for just a moment here. Put your hands on or forehead on the back of your hands. Take a big breath into your back body, the whole back area. And as you exhale, just gently release, just like a nice warm blanket is coming down over your back body, helping you to release all the tension, letting your body get heavier.
And then slowly bring your hands by your shoulders. We're going to move from here into child's pose. We're going to do child's pose this time with the knees together, the thighs touching together. And that way, your belly, your chest, and your diaphragm is going to rest right on top of your thighs. Just allow yourself some time here to feel just that sense of feeling safe. This is a very soothing, calming pose. If you're ever experiencing a lot of stress, anxiety in your life, you've had a really stressful day, or maybe it's that ongoing, constant, low-grade stress, this is a wonderful pose just to do daily. Incorporate it, in the morning, particularly at the end of the day, when you get home, before you go to bed. Really healing, really soothing. Just notice your expansion of your breath, your rib cage, your lungs, and that sense of releasing and relaxing and letting go as you breathe out. Just simply enjoying the sensation of the weight of your forehead resting on the floor, on your mat. Let your lower jaw relax. Let your lips and your cheeks relax. Maybe let the mouth open slightly. Let the shoulders soften. Just feeling a deep sense of gratitude for the grounding force of the earth underneath you. Gravity, support. And gently make your way from here back up to hands and knees. We're going to come into another final forward fold. Again, these are the ultimate poses for down regulating the nervous system, for calming and quieting the nervous system. If you have your blanket or even a bolster at home, or a pillow, if you have a pillow nearby, a really nice thing to do here might be to put a blanket here, like in that kind of third chakra area. So as you forward fold, you're actually putting some pressure there. Or it might just feel nice to take your bolster or your blanket or maybe a block stacked, place it either between the shins or over the shins like this, and then slowly come into your forward fold. I'd say to have your feet about hip width distance. You could rest your forearms. Really always nice to get your forehead resting on something. If you don't have a block, if you look at me for a moment, a nice option is just to come onto the heel of your hands with your elbows resting on a bolster or a blanket. If you want to go a little bit deeper and you want to bring your forehead down onto your forearms, I love this pose because it really puts a nice sense of pressure on the kidneys and on the adrenal glands. Your adrenal glands sit right on top of your kidneys. So it is very soothing for the nervous system and for those adrenal glands. Physically, just on a very physical level, we can sometimes carry stress in our lower back.
depending upon the person. So this is also just a really nice way to just slowly release the lower back. Just each time you breathe out, just feeling yourself releasing tension, letting go. Just tuning your attention, your awareness to something that you wouldn't mind just spending some time with. So that might just be the sensation of the stretch, the physical sensation in the back of the legs. Maybe you want to focus on just the sound of the breath, movement of the breath here for a few moments. Maybe there's some sounds around you, maybe some just gentle white noise or the sound of distant traffic outside. Maybe the outdoors, if you have a window open. Just finding one thing to just kind of focus your awareness on. Maybe it's just the subtle softening that you feel through the body as you spend more time here. Just the soft edges of the breath. The moment after the inhale, before the exhale. The moment after the exhale, before the inhale. You might notice the breath becoming just slower. Maybe you're able to take longer pauses between breaths. Perhaps the sounds that you're focused on and listening to are shifting and changing as well. And we're going to very, very slowly start to come up and out of this posture. Let's take a moment here as you sit upright. I'll just move the feet a little bit. You can take your ankles in some circles, wiggle your toes. Again, we just kind of want to just move some of the energy. If you kind of tap the backs of your legs on your mat, shake your arms out a little bit, maybe just kind of wiggle your whole body again, like you're trying to maybe scoot yourself on your mat, right? Like you're dancing on your bottom. All right. And then I'm going to have you come down to find a resting pose. If you have props, please use them. You might want to lie on your back, put a bolster or a couple of pillows underneath the back of your knees. You could put maybe a blanket underneath your head or your neck if you'd like that. If you feel like you just need to feel a little bit more grounded, you might take
a heavy blanket or a few pillows and lay them on top of your trunk, right? Lay them across your diaphragm and your chest and maybe your pelvis, just as a gentle weight, kind of an anchor for you as we come into a resting posture. Make sure that you just spend a moment or two or three to get comfortable. Make sure that you feel like there's not any one area of your body that's going to be a point of distraction. Okay. And then when you're comfortable, I want you just to, again, if you're comfortable doing so, closing your eyes. Let your eyes close and just allow your attention to turn inward once again. Notice your breathing once more. Breathing in through your nose, just seeing if you can still, not doing deep inhalations and exhalations any longer, coming back to more of a natural breath, but still being aware of the movement in your diaphragm and in your bottom ribs, movement of your belly. As humans, we're wired sometimes to kind of hold on to things and to hang on. So for the next few minutes, I want you just to allow yourself to let go, to release what is no longer serving you, to release that old stress that's always there, just putting a little bit of space between you and that, whatever that stressor is. And just to invite listening, right? Receptivity. Invite a spirit of compassion and of trust. What does that feel like in your body? What does a compassionate body, a trusting body feel like? Just beginning to get a sense of being present in this moment. Just trusting the process of life itself. Just being comforted by knowing that there are tools that you have that you can use to help your body, your mind, your spirit to deal with stress. Right? Just be comforted by that. By your body's own innate ability to soothe itself. Right? And just let your awareness rest in the rhythm of your breath. And as you focus on your breathing, begin to just bring your awareness to your third chakra, your solar plexus. Imagine a warming light forming there. It can be a bright light. And as that light gets warmer, it begins to expand and move into the other areas of your body. It's moving down towards your toes, your pelvis, moving up into your heart space, your chest cavity, your throat, your skull, and out through your arms and your fingertips. And as that light and that warmth is expanding through the body, it's also loosening any restrictions that were being held there around your solar plexus. And there's an expanded sense of space in that area. A sense of warmth and light and lightness. This feeling of the light holding you, supporting you, suspending your body. If you have time, I'd like you to continue to rest in this position for as long as you're able to. I'm going to send you off with the sound of my singing bowl, so just allow yourself to just listen until you can no longer detect sound. Thank you. It was an honor and a pleasure. Namaste.